I mean, it's the biggest topic in the world right now. Ain't nothing bigger than it. So I guess we got to address it. We can't act like we don't know about it. So yeah, get money. You know what I'm saying? Bad boy entertainment. You got to
Yeah.
talk about him. We got to talk about the bad boy. You know what I'm saying? We got to talk about the bad boy. So Sean Diddy Combs. And so what I've done is as well to the audience and the people who are listening to us, because this is also an educational thing for us as well as we are sharing it, is that I've created a PowerPoint with pretty much all of the charges and the verdict thus far on Sean Diddy Combs and kind of definitions so we all have a better understanding of what's going on. Because unlike Saran and being the forensic legal psychologist over there, I don't think no one else knows anything about half these words. And she might not know all of them, but at least she can maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I might be setting her up. But we gonna all help each other. So with that being said, I have a PowerPoint that I do want to share with you all, and we can go that way. We can take an educational journey together. So let's do it. Here we go. So Sean Diddy Combs found guilty of two of the five counts. First of all, I just want to talk about this whole thing. So I know we kind of spoke on it a little bit, probably some episodes ago when this first kind of hit the scene, and we were just kind of like, did he or did he do it? And I think of course,
Sorry, the Diddy do it
You did
kills
it.
me
yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah,
nudity.
yeah,
See what he
yep,
did
yep,
there? See what he did there?
yep. You see what I did there? Make sure y'all chime in because I'm gonna tag that video right up here. So make sure y'all chime into that because I definitely did that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, did he or did he do it? Um, and allegations, right? I think a lot of celebrities are always thrown with allegations and this, that, and the third. And now it's, oh, you're victimizing. Who's the real victim? And is it true? Is it not true? And uh, are you trying? It's defamation. Is pretty much the stamp that's always coming up. Oh, you just trying to mess up my name, throw dirt on my name, or this, that, or maybe he really did it, or we got to make sure to listen to like certain people who are bringing this up, and have they been silenced this whole time? Because money talks, money talks. So before we kind of get into this, it's just another example of how do we bless you? How do we keep getting into realms where we see these iconic people who create these dynasties or these legacies or just things we grow up on, and now when it's time to reap the rewards and to receive all the accolades and the accomplishments and the praise from those they mentored, those they brought up, those they touched, bam, gilded, tainted, just it's just every time, man. And I don't know why that has become a trend. Maybe it is because to get to certain levels like that, it takes money and you can hide it. You can make it go away. But it hurts me in the sense of now I got to change my viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? And whether it's true or not, it's still that thought in the back of your head, and then you still receive those pressures from the media and the world, like, oh, you still support this person, or you still like this person. And now you got to draw a line in the sand
Mm.
on which side you stand or who you rock with, and are you gonna be friends? And of course, everyone's like, oh, well, if you're this way, then we were never friends if you didn't understand my viewpoint. You can't understand where I'm coming from, and da da da. So all that's now coming into play, right? So yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out there real quick before we got into it. Hardy, breathing, you got some?
And that's somewhat unfortunate that you have to draw that line in the sand because, as you stated, and I think we're gonna touch on that. these people are game changers. These people are geniuses on one hand, and I guess human on the other. So to have to choose, and to your point, a lot of us come up. We are raised during those times when those people are coming up. They're growing up right before our eyes, literally. So we still, and that may be a mistake on us to put them
Mm.
iconic,
Pedestal.
put them in such high regard because they are human. You came up with them. You saw before they were Diddy, before they were famous, they were not regular, but they was human. Is
They
that
were just
me?
shown.
So yeah, I think that may be a human. It's human nature, but that may be something that we could dial back as well, is to put them on such a high regard.
But
Yeah,
can you?
I also agree with that a lot of bit. A lot of times we, as the general population, look towards these people as like gods or something, or just like somebody to strive for sure. And it is heartbreaking when you've devoted like, because of course probably his music has brought people out of tough times, have motivated them, like you really feel a sense of connection, and that's what makes these type of individuals so powerful and so like untouchable, because they make you feel like you really know them. But then something like this happens, and that whole scheme, the whole idea that you had of them being this great person is just like, what? So it's almost like a, you go through grief. It's like, no, no way they could do that. Like, I'm in denial. There's no way that this person that I've known for this long, is like this in real life. Because I would never be cool with somebody that would do that. So
Right.
it's very much difficult to process.
There's a shock factor. Yeah,
Yeah, it's very shocking when that happens.
yeah. We're gonna talk more about it, but let's go ahead and kind of dive into the slides a little bit. So yeah, Sean Diddy Combs found guilty on 2 of the 5 counts. All right, so uh, as of right now, he's been found guilty on 2 of them. I think the judge pushed out a final verdict or a final sentencing for October 3rd this year, so 2025. And I have up here the count. So for the things he was found guilty on are actually the same things, just 2 different uh, victims or witnesses or people. Transportation to engage in prostitution, Cassandra Ventura, or Cassie as the media might know her as. And then transportation to engage in prostitution with Jane. And I think that was a later girlfriend or something of that nature. I believe they said that's what they said about her, a later ex girlfriend. And then as far as the not guilty charges, count ones, 2, and 4. Count one is the racketeering conspiracy. He was found not guilty for that. Count two, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And that's with dealing with Cassie. He was found not guilty for that. So there's actually a bit of distinction uh, between the transportation and the trafficking part. And like I said, we'll have definitions on that. And then same thing for Jane, right? Count for sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. For Jane, not guilty. Um, so yeah, so I think with this being said, and I kind of want to say this, both of these for transportation to engage in prostitution, I think they're 10-year sentencing. So he's now up to 20 years. And with that being said, I think the judge says it's 20 years with credit, meaning the time he is currently serving now counts and is credited to that 20-year sentencing. And I think they said, also based on good behavior, it could get reduced and stuff like that. But he's currently, the times he's being held counts towards this 20 years. So just so you all know that moving forward. Um, I think, let's go into a little definition on what each one of these,
So you get to the 20 from 10 from each count or
yeah,
Mhm.
count.
from the
Each
two
count
charges.
carries max of 10 years. Each counts.
Right. So
Individually, yeah.
that's, yeah. So right now, 10 and 10 equals your 20 thus
Right.
far. This is still all before October 3rd, still. So
Right.
pending, you know, more I don't think you can go less time. I think once you kind of get convicted, I think it is what it is. Unless
Well, it's
new
up to
evidence,
the
Something
judge,
like
but we
deal or something.
right.
I don't know.
unless new evidence comes, or or yeah, or plea deal. Yeah, there
Yeah.
could be
Again,
deals.
this is not our lane, but it is the discretion of the judge overall. And
Right.
does he want to give you the max or does he give you lesser? So it,
Do you have
but
house arrest for X amount of
Right. Right.
time? Do you get to serve?
probation, all that.
Probation. Yep.
So it is, the max I think is 10 years off these charges. But then it's from 1 through 10 or whatever the case. So it doesn't have to automatically be 10 years. It again, it's up to the judge and to your.
Well, I think they said that. I think he's right now. He's at 20. I think he's at the max right now for these two. That's where he's at right now. I'm looking at it up here. He's at it. So
So the judge
that
did.
It don't say up to 20 or it's saying like 20 still.
it's
Like,
20.
okay.
It's at 20 because
So the
it's
judge gave him
both,
20
they're both
years,
at 10. He gave him 2 10. So yes, 20.
but he hasn't. Okay, I don't want to go off
Right,
track
right, right.
here. If he hasn't, if he hasn't sentenced them, he doesn't
Right. I
have
think
to.
it's just saying like because
Well,
of these two charges, he can get up to 20 years.
Right.
But since the
so
verdict is not until
but my thing
October.
it said further sentencing.
Okay.
So I feel like there was a sentence already.
Okay.
Further sentencing
Okay.
pushes it further, right?
Further. Right. Okay. Right. There
Did
you
you
go.
use the definition in the sentence? Further sentencing is meaning he pushed the sentence further. No, I'm joking.
Exactly.
But yeah, Hardy, to your point, we can't speak to that. So right now, yes, to your point, it's the max of 10. We're gonna say he pending 20 until that October 3rd. I think October 3rd will pretty much put the period or the exclamation point on everything. So
Yeah.
let's say pending 20 right now. All right. So going into the next slide. So let's talk about it. Verdict terminology and definition. So racketeering, as defined by federal law, refers to engaging in a pattern of illegal activity as part of a criminal enterprise. It often involves organized crime groups using various illegal means such as extortion, bribery, or violence to profit from their activities. I mean, we kind of were talking about how, money talks, right? And I think the to profit from their activities. So racketeering, I'm assuming, is kind of like the whole. I would say kind of the whole operation, maybe, right? Like if we're talking about, let's use, because we all watch Power and Snowfall. Let's use Power for example, right? Like you know, Lobos is the what's it called? The kingpin, the guy, the one they want. And then you got your distributors, you got your people who get it there, this that the means, and then you had Ghost, the Connect, who was pretty much running New York, and then you got your little minions underneath, right? So I think that's kind of how that is being used, and then within those means is how you go about doing your illegal organization, right? So whether that's through extortion, whether that's through bribery, whether that's through being violent or physical or domestic with people like that, right? So um, that's my example. I feel like I was kind of reading this and kind of looking at it. I wanted to use an example where the public can maybe follow a little bit, and I think Power is a good example of understanding how that would work. Um, do
And they
y'all?
kept trying to slap that Rico on them, but Ghost was slipping through the cracks. They couldn't get him. Couldn't get them. Couldn't
And
get Rico. But
there's a definition. It's the RICO. So there's a
Yeah,
definition for RICO.
Rico.
Dad
But
I
made
think
the
it's
point they gotta. I remember he was talking the other day that they gotta try to convict multiple people. That was kind of the fall
right,
through this. They was only putting it on him, but if
and
we compare it to
you
like
can't
the
run
Young
it
Thug,
by
yeah.
yourself.
If we
right,
compare it to Young Thug, they had multiple
right.
people that they kind of was going
The
after.
whole little team, and that, as the definition shows, is often connected with an organized crime group. So you
Yeah,
got, like you say, lieutenants. You got a whole organization that's doing bad things, but then everybody's playing their role. But in this case, they only came after Diddy. So could he drive the truck and whatever. So I
Right.
think that's where the defense was able to muddy the waters, cause. you needed a team, and they only came after one person, and they never brought about the team, so to speak. But
And I
again,
believe I read something else that I think his lawyer, because the prosecution said they were trying to get him. There's a specific law, and I'll find that and I'll tag that in here on the comments later. But there's a specific law that they were trying to get into, but they said Diddy's defendant lawyer was so good at separating it, and then he even said it himself. He was like, I specialize in this specific thing because
right,
it's mechanical, and what he means by mechanical is that if a car, for example, if a car has a flaw or something that's wrong with it, but it still runs, as long as you know what that is on your car and you can make it go without that, you can maneuver around it and not get it hit. And I think the thing was they were trying to use um, Diddy's personal. They were trying to use his personal stuff versus his professional side, and I think that's where it was separating. I think they were talking about. I know the words. It was Diddy enjoys swinging,
right,
getting in relations with other people.
personal,
But right,
It's a
but the
regular
thing
life.
about that is, yeah, but the thing about the swinging is I think it was also consensual too, and it was like a consensual swinging lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really fall under the
Coercion and trafficking.
trafficking or prostitution
Yeah.
because the swinging isn't really right. You're not paying to do like you're
right, right, right.
so So yeah, there's that. So sliding over to the next one. This is a little small. I'll read it out to y'all. Dang, my logo's in the way. I might have to remove the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up.
Kind of
Hold
touched
up.
on it. Trafficking, fraud, coercion.
Yeah. But yeah, so sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. So the force part of this involves the use on threat of physical violence, physical restraint, or serious harm against a person or their family. So that's the force. Fraud is this involves deceptive practices, false promises, or trickery to manipulate and exploit someone into engaging into commercial sex. Example including false promises of love or better life or employment, which I can see how they tried to use that one for him. Coercion. This includes a broad range of tactics used to pressure or intimidate someone into performing a commercial sex act. Examples include threats of serious harm, psychological harm, reputational harm, debt manipulation, withholding of identity documents, threats of legal action or deportation, and exploiting a person's vulnerability. Dang. Yeah, that's a handful. I mean, and so he was found not guilty, was it? Not guilty on that one,
Not
right?
guilty of sex trafficking.
Right. He was not guilty of sex trafficking. So, but again, right, you could see how him being a mogul, a money mogul, they would definitely try to push this agenda and this motive to be what he was doing. And I would say the coercion part probably is the one I can see strongly. However, you
The
know,
consent. When you
the
Yeah,
consent
that's
initially,
where it gets tough
yeah,
because with like Cassie and them, they started out consenting. I love him. I was doing these things because I thought he would like me more. I knew it's what he wanted to do. And then it's like, when did it get to the point where it was like the abuse or the coercion? But if you
shoot,
consented,
when
that's
we
kind
saw
of
that
hard to
video on the
argue.
elevator, my
Well,
goodness,
well,
that
yes.
that was an ugly scene,
But
man.
it's kind of
That was-
hard, especially painting that to a jury of like, well, at one point you were okay with it. So when were we supposed to know
right,
all of a sudden you weren't okay with it? So
right.
that's tough.
And again,
and
you
I
mentioned these guys do what they do. The best lawyers, they gonna
So
be
they
able
gonna
to.
find those
Yeah,
holes and it's very black and white. It's not no, well, I thought,
right, right.
did you consent? Oh, okay.
Yes or no.
Next question.
I didn't ask you yes or
No
no.
further
It's a yes or
questions.
no
No
question.
and they
So
be
yeah,
quick to drop that statement. No further questions, Your Honor.
further-
As soon as you said,
yes,
"Well,
but
yes, but I," no further questions, Your Honor. Dang. And then the other judge over there, like, "Come on, man." Or
that's
sometimes when they don't share this information, now it's news to me. and then they go back to the other ones. Do you have a cross examination?
Mhm.
No, Your Honor, we would like to ask to call for a recess or adjourn or something,
So mind
until we
you,
could.
the jury's just cooking all
Yeah.
this. They like, okay. Even if they say, remove that from the you can't remove that.
Strike that from the
Like,
record. Nope,
yeah.
I remembered it.
So
Even which I've always thought about how does that work when they say strike that from the record? Like, does the jury
technically
can't
it's
use that
not
no more?
supposed to be used.
The
Like
manuscript, the writing.
from the
You strike
writing.
From the
it.
scribe,
Yeah.
yeah, the scribe over there. But
And they
Meaning,
if
tell the
I'm the
jury,
juror,
okay, don't use that, but everybody knows that's
yeah.
it's not the Men in Black pen, so I'm not gonna forget.
But
So
yeah, man, and then of course, I think going back to the physical part, seeing that elevator scene, I can see how they definitely tried to push that because that didn't look too good
but
on the
like
boy,
Serrano
man.
said, we're not charging with domestic violence. That's
yeah.
not why we're in here. So
And again, the black and white of the law is so
So black and white. Like, yeah, he might
it's
have did
so
some bad
cool.
stuff, but that's not what we're here for.
We're
Okay.
not talking about that. And so all that stuff you talk about, all those other things you saying is that defense attorney would be like, um, so here on this, did he ever try to forcefully, do this? Did he ever throw you into a truck? Did he ever try to, do this? Did he ever try to sell you? Did he, and it's just crazy how lawyers do this, but it's definitely a moral thing. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
not for the faint of heart. It's, but yes, this last slide we got one more, and so these are the actual charges that he was convicted of as of now. Transportation to engage in prostitution. So he was the driver or the provider of the vehicle or however it is, but refers to the act of moving or facilitating the movement of an individual with the specific intent for them to engage in prostitution or commercial sex acts, highlights the act of facilitating or enabling someone to participate in prostitution through the provision of transport. So like that could be like how you see them old gangster movies and they like their little cars and they drive in the girls and then let them out and let them out on the street. Does that count as transportation? Would that be like the terminology? I don't know. How does the transportation part really fare, you guys think?
Well, you moving him. He had a house in New York. Then you go down to Miami and do it. Had a freak off in Miami. You take the crew back to New York. So once you cross state line, I think that's when you get that transportation charge. Interstate
And
line from state to state.
yeah, and I think the difference between like the trafficking and coercion is prostitution is like you're choosing to be a prostitute, and technically isn't like prostitution illegal. Like it's illegal to kind of be a sex worker in
Well,
that in the law. So it's like
it's illegal to be a prostitute,
a
sex
prostitute,
working,
right?
which is like the adult industry of
Yes.
stripping,
So since
pornography,
it's
and that
illegal
stuff.
to be a prostitute, but you're not being forced to be a prostitute, like people do still choose that career path. So that's how I see it's like the difference of the coercion and fraud because you're not, manipulating somebody into being a prostitute. You're actually getting a prostitute and then taking them from point A to B. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair. Again, ladies and gentlemen,
Right. Grain of salt, everybody. Grain
don't
of salt.
don't don't take us too serious here. Like I said, we are
Doing our best.
simply we're doing our best, but we're also educating ourselves, but educating you at the same time. And we discussed this together, and
By
we was
way
like,
of discussion. Right.
yeah,
By
by way
way
of
of discussion,
discussion.
we
But
just what I think, what you think. There's
and we
no
discussed this. We discussed this before this episode. We was like, yo, like showing you guys that we're trying to learn alongside of you guys, and we're following it alongside of you guys is probably the best means and best way to go about it because it just shows us how out of touch with some things we are, but like we're so quick to just run with information, right? Like propaganda or social media or anything could just come on the screen and we just automatically assume and be like, oh, da 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 da, and just run with it instead of actually taking that next step, that next initiative to try to read and learn, research, and understand what's really going on And I think that's also a huge component on why we have this thing called cancel culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that it isn't justified or it's invalidated, but like again, we're so quick to just believe what the news, the media, propaganda, social media, whatever they throw out there. We're so quick to just believe that without doing your own research on the topic. And so we wanted to do that alongside you guys as well here on the show too. But kind of going back to Diddy, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about who Diddy was, you know, what's going on, and I guess how do we go about living life.
Well, listening to his record, continue to listen to it,
Basically,
continue to
like,
party with it.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and my thing is, so this is my other thing. So Diddy, yes, he jumped on some tracks, but he was a producer. So I can't listen to Biggie, Lil Kim. You know what I'm saying? I can't listen to nobody no more. You know, it's just he's touched literally the almost the entire industry. Like, you know, I
Not
can't go
that's
bump, bump, bump with B2K no more. You know what I'm saying? Like day 26. Man.
But again,
Um
respect, respect the craft. Now
the
you
art, yeah.
can lean on the art form because as far
That's
as
the
the
first
hip
thing.
hop industry, he changed the game in a lot of ways. I looked at a chronological uh, stat on him, how he did what he did, and you know how the crowd and the industry moved this way and that way, and how now, to your point, you know, sampling became what it is, and everybody jumped on it. And you know, I think the '90s was like he was dominant or something like that. So all of them do have their period of
Would you
time.
say he's the king of sampling?
You know, where you get a old school record and you what we call step on it and put Biggie on it with some bars, but it's really uh the OJs from back when. That's the sampling. You get a piece of OJs and you let Biggie step on it, and now you got Bad Boys. You know, because all the Biggie stuff, and you know, according to that little background, Biggie was like, I can't do that, man. I'm a gangster rapper, blah, blah, blah. And it took a couple, you know, back and forth to get Diddy to get Biggie to rap on it. And come to find out it was the biggest hit they ever had, you know. So
Man,
that's
sampling,
he's pretty much known for that, a good portion of that.
king of
Yes,
sampling, man. So to your point, man, and he ran the 90s. I don't I just me personally, I don't know how, like, you know, moving forward, right? How do we go about, you know, dealing with this? And you know, you said it, Hardy. You know, separate the person from from the art, right? Uh, and it's just sad to see that a guy who was a hustler, right, used to go door to door out his trunk, radio stations, people turning away. He kept forcing his tapes, kept making it happen. You know, getting people and you know making promises to his artists and finally getting them what they did. Oh,
I'm sorry. And a Diddy party was the party. If you were somebody,
that
you
whole
wanted to go, you wanted to be
cowardice.
invited to a Diddy party, man. But now I don't know if you had to leave by midnight, but he did throw. Everybody witnessed that. Everyone said that. The Foxes, the everybody, yeah, man, absolutely.
it was like the party
And
was a party
I
just that
left.
evening.
I left before it flipped. But yeah, Diddy party because the chronological the order states that he's claiming Howard University here, and he would run back and forth to New York and throw the parties. But yeah, he claims Howard.
Yeah, man, and it's just
Very unfortunate.
it's like I said, he was just you know forcing tapes out, being the hustler he is, to finally making it right, to getting it, and the music's hot, and then you know he goes on the trend where now he's producing, he's getting more artists, and he's creating opportunities. You know, he's creating TV shows, he's doing all this. Isn't Revolt like his TV station on
Yeah, he had that. Yeah,
Revolt is his TV station,
yeah.
and you know he's you know and he does like the competitions for like Day 26 and B2K and making all these groups and what Danny Kane and
He had to get
all
out the
these.
vote little slogan. When Obama, he was out there with get out the vote. He had a little.
Yeah, man. And again, creating all this great stuff, especially for black folk, man. He was doing all this for black people. It was like Diddy was over here doing something, Tyler Perry's creating his own studios and stuff. Things were just black excellence was just coming through, right? We finally starting to grow, close the gap, creating opportunities. And now, like I said, to be at a point where it's time to receive all your BT Icon Awards, to receive all your accolades, your praises, your achievement award, lifetime achievement awards, man.
Lifetime, yeah.
I just hate to see
Something,
the mud now being thrown on the person
Saran, do
Too
you
by
think
much
by
that
being
dip on your
self-inflicted.
chip. Too much dip on your chip gets to a point, I guess. But they say
Right?
more money, more problems. It's two sides to every coin.
and that to that point had Biggie been around because he kind of going off the rails after that, and I don't know if trauma. I mean, Saran, maybe it was that trauma can set him. Is he suffering? Does he need the
It's like,
conversation?
there you go.
I mean, definitely, I feel like anybody in Hollywood has seen, heard, experienced some things that we can't even fathom. So, obviously, trauma response, a lot of things can be trauma, but of course, that's a lot of things, layers that need to be unpacked. So, and then we got to put in substance use, we got to put in power, we got to put in, so it's a lot to unpack there. And so, and some we can't just blame it all on like trauma and stuff because at the end of the day, you control your choices.
Right. I was about to say this, the willpower, right? You have
Yeah, we can't
the will.
just cover it all of like, oh, he was this. Like you still made certain choices to get you in certain positions. So it is tough to see, but you
And
know,
I agree with you, right? So I'm like, as much as we're talking about who he was as a man and who he was and what he developed, again, self-inflicted, right? He made these decisions, like some of the and whether it was the demons he was battling, the skeletons in the closets that are now being revealed, the people he might have paid off or made things disappear, or however way he did or did not make things disappear. You know, someone else might have did it for him, but again, that's again where we have to come back and see that we put people on pedestals and lower to some people the lowercase g make them gods, the lowercase g, but you have to realize they're still human, right? Like they're not all that, and they have
they're not
flaws.
untouchable. Like you can still
Exactly.
get touched. But
And the
just
behavior. By no means are we condoning or trying to give him a pass. By no means, and we definitely want to make that. No one deserved. Yeah, that elevator scene really turned me. I was like, "Come on, man!"
I think it's just disappointment. That's where we are.
Right?
Like you to Saran's point, the grieving process and stuff like that. You say all this, you say this was who you were. You had everything. You were doing everything. Like everything was in your grasp, and you just let it crumble. You let it fall. We're disappointed, man. Like how did you get yourself here? And that's where the moments of going down memory lane or seeing the quote unquote good in this person right now is because it's the inspiration, what we aspire to be, to see someone, a black man, representing the culture, the community, to have made it to that level. And it's, I think I was watching, what's it called? What they call Breakfast Club. Charlamagne said it. At the end of the day, bro, yeah, you might have the money, you might be sitting around up there, and unfortunately, you still a black man in America, bro. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much power you have, no matter how much you have done and you've put into this world, you are still a black man in America, and it's a humbling experience every time, and that's why it's very important to always make sure you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, making sure everything's clean, kept, neat, handling everything, and have a team. He has a team, but and that's what Charlemagne was saying. Charlemagne's thing was like, and they was like, well, he was doing it. Charlemagne was like, bro, he's still a black man in America. You can say all y'all want. You can say he had the world. He did this, that, and the third. Still a black man in America. You will never be over there, unfortunately. And I'm not, and that's not to
Well,
be harsh or anything.
Yep. He said, well, what you say?